people are speaking Dutch, I'll get an idea what they're talking about. I'll pick up on some words, but I have a serious issue with memory. That's why there's so many people here that I recognise and I'll remember from a theatre show or a gift they've given me, but I'll just forget their name.
Yeah.
And it's so embarrassing for me. And I start panicking inside because I start thinking, well, maybe they think I don't care, or maybe they may think that I'm being dismissive. And with words, I'm great on numbers, mathematics. I was brilliant at that at school. But when we ever did language, we did French when I was around about 11, and then I did Latin, and I just couldn't remember words.
Yeah.
So when I came here, I was very conscious that when I'm concentrating, when I'm connecting with children or the spirit world, am I concentrating so much on that even if I learn Dutch, or I try to learn some words, will it interfere with the connection? So that's why we've always had an interpreter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I panic when I'm walking down the street and someone comes over and says, "How are you?" It's me and I'm with someone and I can't introduce them because I've forgotten their name.
So many people.
Yeah,
it's
but I think
impossible, even if you have a good memory, to remember all the names, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that obviously you'll remember the names. I know we've joked about a few people today, not to make fun at them, but the fact that I can't actually remember, people's names like Vera and Elsa because they look so alike.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
And I remember they used to come to theatre shows, and I'd be like, hang on a minute, she was here last night.
Twins
and you'd say to them, were you here last night? No, but I'm sure you were here.
Yeah.
And they didn't know each other at the time, so it was really confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. But Derek, we already know, I think, a great deal about you being a psychic and your psychic abilities, but we know some less about your personal life. So, what I
think when I do live for you this afternoon, that's going to be an easier interview.
Well, it won't be embarrassing.
Because normally Carlo will come into my dressing room and
No,
Carlo
no,
will say, "What do you want to talk about?" And I said, "Well, I'm a TV show or something." And he said, "Okay." And I always say to Carlo, really, don't do anything naughty. Don't ask me anything naughty.
Well, I will.
Okay, I know that.
But I'm curious, what kind of relationship do you have with your father and your mother? Can you describe the relationship you have?
Well, it's quite strange you asking me about my mum, because I did an interview last week with Marguerite, the magazine, and the interview was me and my mum. So when I was over in Scotland a few weeks ago, I got photographs from my mum, photographs of my mum and I. And I was sitting doing the interview, and for the first time I'd really talked about my mum in any great depth. There's attributes, positive and negative, from my mother, as we all have from our mothers, and they're positive and negative from my father. My mum's very driven, she's very focused, and my mum will not tolerate bullshit.
Just like you.
And I think, and when I was growing up, that truth and honesty and integrity was so important in our home. And my father is quite a very insecure person, but in a loving way, very caring. So I've got two positive attributes. The negative side is sometimes my mum gives me a hard time, which I think all moms do.
Yeah.
And my dad's always making sure I'm okay. Yeah, I'm sure your mum does the same. But it's. I think you look at your mum and dad and you see parts of yourself in your parents.
Yeah.
And I think my relationship with them has got stronger since I've left Scotland, because my mum and dad will come over to Cyprus and we'll actually spend quality time. See, that's the thing. Sometimes we spend time with people and we think it's quality, but it's not. And as you know, I've just done the Kinderflüsterer. And some families, I've asked them to really look at their time management. Because some fathers think that they spend time with their child, but they're sitting watching television. And it's not quality time. So the quality time I spend now with my parents is much more than it ever was when I originally stayed in Scotland.
And what about your sister? You have a sister?
Yeah.
How important is she to you?
Well, when I was growing up, she used to pull my hair, and I still joke about the fact that's why I'm bald. My sister's 4 years older than I am. Her name's Elaine. and she has 2 daughters, Amy and Victoria. Amy's 23, Victoria's now 20. It's strange because I keep going back to Cyprus, but that's where I live, so I don't want to keep boring you with talking about Cyprus, but obviously a lot of things personally to me happened there. And my sister came over in May for a week's holiday, and it's the first time I've spent yet again quality time with her. And it was amazing to really connect as we did when we were children. She's a very, very strong mother. She's very passionate about what she does as a mother and as a in a relationship with her husband. She's a very honest and sincere person. And she just got herself a dog. And my sister was incredibly house proud. You know, you would go to my sister's home and maybe have a cookie, and the crumb would go on the carpet, and she'd come out with a vacuum cleaner. But just over a year ago, she decided to get a little puppy dog, and it's really relaxed her because she's now more back to herself again. I think she'd sort of lost focus a little bit. But she's a very warm and loving person. And I know, listen, isn't it? It's a bit of a cliche. You know, people are interviewed in the press or on television, they always say really nice things about everyone. But I can't say a negative thing about my sister.
Okay.
I really can't. Apart from she pulled my hair. and because if you ever noticed this, because we're obviously going to talk about things I've never discussed.
Yeah.
When I was around 7 or 8, we went ice skating. And my sister's 4 years older, she would be about 12 or 13. So she at that point was interested in boys. Funny thing was, so was I. And we went ice skating, and I was the little brother who would always get in the way. And she was on the ice and she was talking to boys, and I went over to her and I fell over and I grabbed her ankle. So I'm grabbing her ankle and she went, get out the way, and she went, whoof, and she slit. If you ever look at photographs of me, she slit the lower part of my lip, and there's a little growth there because what they didn't stitch it, they just pushed it together in hospital. Okay. So that was my sister.
Was she also responsible for losing your tooth?
No, what happened with my tooth was my father worked for British Airways, the airline, and we were working class, normal people, the sort of people I have on my show, just normal, everyday people. We weren't poor. I mean, we had food and we had clothes, but you know, we weren't out every week eating in restaurants, and that wasn't the thing in Scotland in the 70s. So anyway, we used to have one particular thing that I loved, and that we used to go to Spain on holiday. Now, when I was growing up in the 70s, you didn't go to Spain. People just didn't have the money. Well, not the sort of people who went to school with me, not the kids who went to school. And the teacher would go round the class just before the summer break, and she's saying, where are you going? And someone said Largs, which is a resort, it's not even a resort. It's like a little coastal town about 50 kilometres from where I grew up, and it always was raining, completely depressing. You would go there and want to go back home. And there's a place called Blackpool. Have you heard of Blackpool? It's in England, and a lot of people used to go to Blackpool. And there's another place called Scarborough. So they would go Largs, Scarborough, Blackpool, Largs, Scarborough, Derek, Benidorm, Torremolinos. And I used to love. So we used to go on holiday a lot. So I loved that connection with going on holiday. So we're in Spain. My father always said, when you come out of the swimming pool, come out the steps. Yeah. And I decided one day, no, I'm going to pull myself up, slip, head hits the edge of the swimming pool, half the tooth gone. It's the 70s. It's Spain. We thought we'd just leave it. We didn't bother going to the dentist. I came back and an abscess had set in. Now the thing was, they cut the abscess, they took out the tooth. But since then, over 30 years, the jawbone has shrunk. Yeah. Because what I really wanted to do was have a permanent false tooth put in place. And I'll cut this down really, because I could tell you lots of stories. Basically, it's almost impossible to get it done now because they have to take bone out my lower jaw, put it into my top jaw, put in a titanium rod, and I would be out of work for like 3-4 months, and my face would be out to here, and I don't really, and I'm scared.
Yeah.